Howdy, folks. We're going to do a little reading of a comic strip. Um, it's an odd one. It's pretty famous. It ran in the last week of October 1989, I want to say. Don't have the date. It was either 85 or 89. I'm going to say 89. It's a Garfield comic. Garfield is not funny. This one's different. Don't be reading it now because you're not going to catch the end panels. It's a Stranger Garfield comic. It was pretty well known. It has a lot of theories about it. And Garfield, to me, normally it ranks right up there with Ziggy and Family Circus. Garfield's a pretty lame comic. But this one's a little odd. Shed some unusual light on the character, and I have a theory. So let's check this out, and then we'll try a thing called Three Things. Three things I don't like, but everyone else does. I saw that on 2 Cent Chicks. Actually, I think it's supposed to be 10 or whatever, but 3 is good. She did 3. I 3. Let's start with Garfield. Panel 1, we have Garfield looking very sinister. Welcome to Garfield's Horror Theater. See, it was a Halloween series, ran about, a couple days, and it's been colorized. It ran in black and white. Garfield's getting up from his bed. Some of these were not in the were in the original. They don't believe it may be part of the story. They're kind of jump scares. You'll see Garfield in front of a purple screen. Well, there's one more that is like that, and the ending is like that. But there's just one that's odd. Anyways, should I sound like Bill Murray? I don't know how to do that. There's a chill in here this morning. That's not a good Garfield voice. I don't know how to do a Garfield. What an eerie sensation. Oh my God, I gotta get a Garfield voice. This doesn't feel like my home. John? Odie? Anybody home? I'm alone. And we have him looking around the house. There's no one there. You have no idea how alone you are, Garfield. He's thinking, steady, Garfield. There must be a good reason why the house is empty. John must be at the grocery. And we see that he's in an abandoned house. Boarded up, weeds in the yard. No one's been there for years. And Garfield looks at some pictures in one of the rooms and says, my home has been abandoned. No one has lived here for years. Well, that's what I said because I saw the outside. But that means I haven't lived here for years. Well, what's that? And he hears a noise, and he goes running, and they call this a jump scare. We're out of cookies. No, it's just an extra panel. It was made to fill the strip, but it's a dumb panel. And he sees, John, Opie, you're home. Hello, Garfield. Have some food. And he's handing Garfield the food, and it slowly disappears. Locked fast within a time. When he no longer exists, Garfield grapples with his greatest fear, loneliness. After years of taking life for granted, Garfield is shaken by the horrifying vision of the inevitable process called time. He only has one weapon: denial. I don't want to be alone. Want some breakfast, Garfield? Who needs it? I need you. And then in the end, the narrator's saying, imagination is a powerful tool. It can tint memories of the past, shade perceptions of the present, or print a future so vivid that it can entice or terrify, all depending upon upon how we conduct ourselves today. Ends with him saying, "You have been watching Garfield's Horror Theater." No, to me, a lot of people have said this means Garfield is dead. I don't think so. To me, it means that the entire. I mean, this is my take. I don't think Jim Davis has given an official take. I don't know. I just have heard of this strip. It's pretty famous because it's pretty weird and pretty kind of creepy. I think John and Odie moved out. And they left Garfield. They just left the cat in the house. And the entire strip is Garfield's imagination of being with John. He misses him. He wants to be with his owner. He wants to be with the dog that he doesn't like, but they're gone. They left. He's just living alone in a home, like a lot of people do. They just leave their cats. And sad. But that's what I take this as. And he had a day where he woke up, kind of forgot that he was imagining everything. And then he got back in. He convinced himself that he's not living in an abandoned house, abandoned by his owners. That's a take. There's a lot of takes. I'm not saying that's it. It's not necessarily that depressing. It's also kind of silly, kind of fun. I also think it's pretty cute. It's one of the better written Garfield stories, I would say. And I don't know. I kind of dig it. I'm not a Garfield fan. I actually don't like Garfield. But this one I dug. I thought this was cool. And it gave you something to play with. You know, it was clever in strip writing. That's rare. Now, for 3 things I don't like that everyone else seems to like. Let's start with Game of Thrones. I started watching Game of Thrones season 1. And I had bought the DVD set. It was on sale. Bought the first season. Happened to get it and found out that I had the rare DVD set with George Bush on a spike at the end, which is not as controversial as everyone thought it was. Story was that they found a head and they joked that it looked like George Bush. That joke got out to the people, and a whole bunch of right-wingers freaked out when they saw the George Bush head on a spike. It was not pre-planned. It was just someone joked that it looked like him. But anyways, I watched the first season, and I had real trouble getting through that season. I kind of just really wanted to get to the end to see the head, just to see what it looked like, because it hadn't made the internet yet. And also, there's a lot of sex and nudity, so I kept coming back to watch that. But all in all, the story sucked. I never watched another season. I didn't even get that season. I didn't like it. Everyone loves Game of Thrones. I didn't like it. I hate it. Lord of the Rings. I read The Hobbit. I found that book to be okay. And then I started reading, what was The Fellowship of the Ring, I'm going to say is the first book of the 3. And I had all 3, and I had them in my book bag. And I finished the first book, and it was hard. I mean, it wasn't hard reading. It wasn't, just trudged and trudged. And I'm like, they're telling the same damn story as The Hobbit. They're just spreading it out over 3 books. Okay. And I just started in I got through book 1. I got maybe a quarter of the way into book 2, and my car got broken into. My book bag was stolen. And I said, that's a sign. I don't have to finish this damn series of books. I'm not going to rebuy them. Then the movies came out, and I watched the first movie, and I said, okay, that's an accurate retelling of book 1. It sucked. It was accurate. I never watched the second movie, never watched the third movie, and I never watched any of the Hobbit movies because I was like, why the hell are you going to take one concise story and spread it out over multiple movies? I mean, this one was the only thing that was concise in Lord of the Rings. The rest was just the same story spread out over 3 more books. I don't get it. I mean, different characters doing, but they're doing the same thing. They're traveling, you know. To me, I don't like Lord of the Rings. Everyone loves Lord of the Rings. I don't get it. And number 3 is dogs. All right, thanks, folks. Go ahead and post your 3 things that everyone seems to like that you don't. If you want, it'll be kind of fun, I guess. Or not. I don't know. Talk to y'all soon, and here's a little thing for you to see in this Garfield Mystery Theater. This in footage of George Senda at the ER. It's breaking news.
I just want to get better. Patty will come over and help clean. Kathy started cleaning her apartment, and it was a disaster. And my apartment's a mess because I've been sick a lot.
The world mourns.
And when I'm weak, I go to bed. And the whole room spins, and then I pass out. So I need all laundry. Patty's going to come over and take all the laundry from me. I've been begging her for months to do it, and she hadn't wanted to do it. She said, "I'm going to wash your laundry." I said, "No, you're not going to wash my laundry, because the last time you washed my laundry, you shrank some of my stuff." I don't know what they're going to do, Biff. I'm not the doctor. I'm merely the patient. So, no, Patty will not be on video. For one thing, she has no desire to be harassed. So,
Uh-oh. Let's have a moment of silence for George Senda. Naturally, his last words were about Patty.